Welcome to Talk Dirt to Me, where two farmers shatter myths and take on the top issues facing America's farmers. Here's your hosts, Logan and Bobby Lee.
What's up, everybody?
Yes, a good evening.
A good evening. Back to the good evenings in Tennessee. Last episode, we were far away from home.
Yeah, and we're actually in the new studio.
Yeah, this is your first unveil. What do you think about it?
I think it's awesome. Yeah, for our YouTube audience, you're already noticing a little different setup here. I think this is this is awesome.
Yeah, we I guess I was thinking about that tonight. I'm like, I don't guess we've told our audience about the new studio upgrade.
Well, I mean, it's been 2 weeks since we've really recorded almost, and so I think a lot of this has all come about in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, it's been perfect. I mean, this time of year is when to do it. So for guys that don't know, I guess that's pretty much all of you that don't know. Our farm store, my wife and I do, we have pivoted. We're still going to do this stuff, but we want to focus on farmers markets, because one of the things that was hurting us was our hours. Right. We couldn't be open consistently, and it never failed. It fell on Marcy basically to be open because I was always in the field. And so people are like, man, I don't ever know when you guys are open. And so me and her got to talking, and I said, I think we ought to focus on farmers markets. I've got some buddies that do that, and they were like, one guy actually had a brick and mortar store that he closed because the farmers markets was so much more profitable from a time breakdown.
And yeah, I could totally see that, because I mean, obviously, when here where your store is, one, you're on a pretty heavily traveled road, but you're outside of town. Like most folks, I mean, you catch some traffic driving by, but like they got to intentionally be coming here to see you. And if you're at a farmer's market, I mean, there's maybe people that are there with zero interest in buying, eggs or, kraut or pickles or, your tallow. I'm sitting here looking at some of your inventory you got. They're there to buy some local honey. Yeah. And they're like, well, I'll be damned. Little blue farm store has got some eggs over there. Let's go get a dozen eggs, and you kind of catch just those random people. Well, I mean, you know how it is. You go to the grocery store for you got 3 things on your list.
Oh, shit.
And it's $285 when you leave there.
Yeah.
And you're like, well.
I did that yesterday. Yeah. Well, that's
because you're getting ready for the other big news.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of chili. But no, that was kind of our thing. And so it was actually Marcy's idea. We were driving one day because we're going to go online. I guess that's something cool to tell, because we'll have some people that can get to try some stuff. But we're going to put the store online. We're going to start, doing crowd. All of our canned goods, everything like that will be sold online. We have not set that up yet, but we're going to. So that's kind of the route we're going with the farm store. And so we got this building. I mean, hell, it's a nice building, 30 by 40. Rustic interior. And my wife, we were riding somewhere the other day, and she was like, I think that you should turn the farm store into your media hub. And I said, really? She said, yeah. She was like, you love the podcast, y'all are growing the show really big, and I also do the one with my church, and we were filming it in the little studio too. And so she's like, you got a lot of irons in the fire on that, it's growing, I think you ought to do that. So I was like, all right, we'll do it. So here we are. And now we got a bathroom. We got running water. Got a lounge area over there. I was like, man, you can smoke cigars in here if you wanted to.
Well, that's what, I almost thought that. I was like, we ought to smoke the pipe in here.
It's over there. I can get it if you want to smoke the pipe. I got it. I do got to get our alcohol brought here.
Just smoke some cigarettes.
Yeah, we can smoke some cigarettes. Smoke something, yeah. But, so
I figured that would kind of fit with our image.
Some Marlboro Reds. That would be ideal. But yeah, so we're in the new studio, and we're actually going to be adding, for our YouTube people, you're about to be getting a really badass experience here soon.
Trying to revamp some of that stuff and spruce it up more or less. But
so y'all be ready for that. Before we get in too much deep or any deeper, we need to do a couple of things. First, we need you to hit that like button, hit subscribe. Our ratings, those guys are just, Apple and Spotify both are just absolutely kicking ass. We are, every day when I check almost on Spotify, we have a new rating almost every day on Spotify.
And guys, I mean, we cut up, we joke, we're, sometimes you can't tell if we're serious or not, It's kind of our humor. But I mean this sincerely. We appreciate that more than you can imagine.
Yep.
Taking those few seconds. I mean, this has been a 4.5 year journey so far. I mean, really a 5 year journey from when we first when Logan first kind of pitched the idea to me. And that sort of thing is what has made it grow. And so we appreciate that so much. Really do. Not trying to be, too sentimental or anything, but thank you guys for that.
No, dude, you're absolutely right. I mean, I am a, I don't know about you, but I'm a self-deprecating kind of guy. Like I am my own worst critic. And podcasting, for people that have ever podcasting is a slow game. Like it's a marathon. And yeah, I mean, hell, we've been at it a long time. Like we're veterans in this world now. And man, there are points when you podcast and you're in it for a while where you find yourself like, damn it, is this worth is this worth it? Because I mean, we put a lot of time into it. Hell, now I got like a lot of money into it as well. But
and that's like, I mean, yeah, we used to get up at 4 a.m, so we could be recording at 4:30, and then I mean, I know you're the night owl. You'd normally be just now starting, some 3-hour movie, but it's 9:09 p.m. As we're sitting here recording. I would be in bed right now. Yeah, maybe reading a book and dozing off.
Yeah. I mean, it has taken. We put effort into this. Like as much as we joke and cut up and have a good time, like we put a lot of effort into this. And so one of the coolest, most rewarding things, like you said, the ratings. And that's why I harp on them because they do help the show grow. But our show, there are shows that get more views than us that are not rated as heavily as our show. And like that to me tells like anytime I talk to somebody about our show, like, and Bobby Lee and I will kind of highlight a little bit what we got back from doing recently, but they kind of were asking us about our show, and I'm like, man, we have the coolest part about our show is we have the most like badass audience that there is. Like our audience, I feel like our audience is our ride or dies, and
and I think I've heard other media people talk about how that's really what matters nowadays. You go back, like when I was a little kid, you had like 4, 5, maybe 8 channels, whatever, on the TV. You could tune into, your FM or AM radio. And then, of course, you had like the newspaper and your print medias. But like, that was it. Like, media was designed to appeal to everybody from 8 to 80. And that was great. It needed to, because, again, everybody was pretty much having to watch and listen to and whatever, the same thing. Yep. And nowadays, everything is so much more kind of a niche. Yep. And it's not about how big your audience is so much as it is how engaged your audience is. And I feel like whether we got there on purpose, I mean, I think we were going for that, but not really knowing totally what we were doing when we got started, and we have somehow cultivated an audience that is super plugged in, and we appreciate that. We really do.
Yeah. So guys, there you go. We appreciate you.
Yeah, and that's enough of being sappy.
It is. And in saying that, leave us some more ratings. Let's keep driving this up there. Like we had said 1,000, we wanted to hit 1,000. We're about at 8. We're around 800. Yeah. So let's hit that 1,000. If you're watching this on YouTube, we do want you to hit that like button, hit subscribe, comment below, comment something to us, and go to talkdirtpodcast.com. Submit your questions to us there. There is no dumb questions. Anything, submit them there.
Only dumb people.
That's right.
And then they're not in our audience.
That's right. We ain't got no dummies. What else do you need to do?
Hey, y'all check out agzaga.com. Use that discount code. It hadn't changed. TalkDirt20, $20 off, $50 minimum order, and free shipping. You won't be disappointed. Check them out.
There you go. All right. I feel like a real podcaster tonight.
Because you got notes?
I got a stack of notes, man. I got like 15.
I think you might ruin our image.
I know. Yeah. Here we are. I'm scripted. No, I told Bobby Lee I don't have service in here. I actually have a little service right here. But
yeah, you had to be prepared in case you couldn't.
I did.
Pull up your phone and look something up real quick.
Generally, my phone is where my notes are. Like if I'm thinking, all right, what are we going to talk about? So the big topic tonight is, without a doubt, HB 0809.
And that's a Tennessee House
bill. This is like catapulted into the spotlight because of guys like Shawn Ryan. if y'all are familiar with the Shawn Ryan podcast. And I think Shawn's probably a good dude. I've listened to some of his show. I'm sure you've probably maybe listened to one.
I've listened to, I think, one episode, and I like follow him on social media, so I see the little clips and stuff and some of the people he has on. But I think I've actually only maybe listened to one podcast ever that he's done.
He'll do, I used to do some marathons when I'd have like Austin Legg and Brandon Lilly on. I did like a 3.5 hour podcast one time with one of them. Shawn has done like a 5 or 6 hour long podcast.
Yeah.
That's a long podcast.
Which his are all, I mean, he's kind of like Rogan.
Yeah.
Like they're all guest, podcast, and
Yep.
and he pulls some big names, I think the one I listened to, because it had gotten a lot of, it just kind of made it into my social media algorithm, was when he had Gavin Newsom on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Shawn's kind of a conservative, kind of libertarian guy,
Yep.
from what I gathered. But, and again, I don't want to speak for him. He kind of like Rogan. He'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Have him on, and obviously you get a big name like that. It's a little bit self-serving too.
Yeah.
You're having them on because it got me to listen, because I was like, well, what in the world is he talking to Gavin Newsom about?
Well, Shawn he launched this because he put up a video.
Tell us what the bill is.
All right, yeah. So I got a list here, and I tried to get a really in-depth thing here. So I've had multiple people message me about this, and here's a little rundown. This is the overview of the Tennessee House Bill 0809. I don't know if that's my phone or your phone picking up a little bit of feedback. It was introduced in the 114th General Assembly, yada, yada, yada. The bill has generated significant controversy. It was, so it was introduced last February. I didn't realize it had been floating that long. But it was actually taken off notice yesterday. And, I won't get into who. I was going to say some people were celebrating it. One of them really annoyed the shit out of me. But the key provisions and what the bill does. At its core, HB 0809 seeks to align state law more closely with federal regulations under the federal. All right, this is the government loves abbreviations.
Acronyms.
FIFRA, FIFRA. It is the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act, which governs pesticide registration and labeling nationwide. The bill's key language states this. This is where people lost their shit. There's two things. A manufacturer or seller of a pesticide that is registered with the Tennessee Commissioner of Ag and the U.S. Environmental, so the EPA, U.S. EPA, under FIFRA is not liable in a civil action related to the labeling of the pesticide. This immunity applies only if the pesticide bore an EPA-approved label under FIFRA at the time of sale. So that's like the bare bones of what this bill is.
So basically, if a product is approved by the EPA and the Tennessee, would you say Department of Ag or
EPA? It's a U.S. EPA, and the Tennessee Commissioner of Agriculture.
Tennessee Commissioner of Ag. If it is approved for use according by label, that provides the seller and the manufacturer immunity from civil suits for that product's use.
Yeah, the EPA has deemed, the one that everybody's shitting their pants about.
Yeah,
Roundup.
Glyphosate. Yeah.
The EPA has deemed glyphosate or Roundup as safe.
Right.
And so as it's been labeled safe, this would prevent someone in Tennessee if they got, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is the big one that they say is caused by Roundup. If someone,
which has never been proven.
It's never been proven. And
much as that'll make people scream and throw stuff at their screen. If we got a broader audience maybe listening to this one, we hope you're listening.
Yeah.
Hey, leave a rating and a review if you are.
That's right. But so I think last year alone, Bayer, and I had someone message me and they were like, it's Monsanto. Those bastards at Monsanto. And
immediately, you're kind of splitting hairs, but you immediately lose a lot of credibility with me when you mention Monsanto in the year 2026.
Yes, they have not Monsanto is like they've done wiped their hands, man.
Yeah.
Monsanto's out. The Bayer is the one. If you want to pick on somebody, you got to pick on Bayer because they purchased glyphosate, Roundup. They purchased Roundup.
Monsanto is no more.
Yeah,
like they're gone. You know, R.I.P. Monsanto.
Yeah, Bayer is the boogeyman if you want the boogeyman, and so it would prevent people from doing it because I think in just 2025, Bayer had set aside something like $10 billion for lawsuits.
Yeah, because they knew when they bought it, they're like, oh, there's all this ongoing litigation bullshit.
Yep.
You know, people wanting to attack this chemical, which we've said all along. Like, as farmers, we use all kinds of chemicals, pesticides, whatever terminology you want to use. And again, we don't know, like, because I believe glyphosate is very safe. I spray it around my house, around my driveway. I'm like,
He rubs it on his wiener.
Hey, I wasn't going to get that personal, but no, you know, I have bathed in it unintentionally. You know,
Oh yeah, me too.
I remember used to as a kid. You know, they'd have me like things were slow on the farm. I'd load up a
Wick bar.
well that too, but I just have the big sprayer.
Oh,
on,
yeah.
on the 4-wheeler, and you know with the big wand, they'd be like, go spray these ditches where all these willows are coming up, and I'd have Roundup and brush killer in there.
Yeah.
And spraying around the barn. It'd be a windy
wind.
day, and oh God, you'd be wearing it.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, hell, I'm only 42, but I mean, I don't. I mean, this will really come back to bite me if I get diagnosed with cancer in like the next year. I mean, like they're going to use this clip as like this guy was bragging about how he's bathed in it. But yeah, and there's a lot of other chemicals we use on the farm that are
worse.
We mention that all the time. Like, but it's just obviously that's a very wide, you know, broadly used. I spray it around my yard. I spray it around my garden.
Yeah.
Because I'm lazy about. I don't want to hoe.
Yeah.
I don't like weed eating. I'd run a weed eater more than I used to, but like,
Well,
I spray the shit out of like, when they put in flower beds at our house. It's like, I don't want to have to weed flower beds. It's like, I'll keep everything spread out far enough. You can come in here about every 2 or 3 weeks because there's weeds popping up everywhere. I'm spraying Roundup all around my flower beds. My dogs are out there. My kids are out there. My wife and I are out there. Like,
well, that's the thing. That's one of the things that's been kind of funny when they attack us, like, especially when they attack farmers over this. It's like, look, man, we do believe that this is a pretty safe chemical. I mean, again, we use it around our families. If I actually thought this chemical was dangerous, I damn sure wouldn't do that.
well, and you know, you see all this stuff. You know, it's like fill in the blank causes cancer. This causes cancer. Like, and you know, a lot of it is dose dependent. You know, if you're using things according to label instructions. I was trying to think. What's the
I bet cocaine could cause cancer if you used a lot of it.
I'm sure. I forget the term we used to use in veterinary medicine about. Basically the dose is what matters, and I would dare say.
Well, they say the dose is the poison or whatever.
Yeah. I'm just drawing a blank on being able to give the exact, you know, quote, but well, Lord, now I'm completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, when you think about different things and how they can, or farmers, that's where I was going. I don't think it's even controversial when it comes to using things like Roundup at the appropriate label. I guarantee you when I'm spraying around my flower beds, because I mean, I've got a 2-gallon hand pump sprayer that I'm using.
Yeah.
Half time when I'm getting ready to mix it, I don't have something to measure it with. So I'm like,
Are you about to admit that you spray off label?
I'm saying my measurements of how much I put in the sprayer probably aren't near as precise. Because when you're spraying hundreds of acres in a day,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You could tell me exactly what Roundup costs per gallon, or even a generic glyphosate. Like, it matters, especially when the current farm economy we're dealing with. But I know, shout out to Barn Talk. You know, another ag podcast was talking about, they were talking to a lady, and they gave the example that he showed like I don't know, whatever size bottle. He's like, this is how much we spray on an acre, which is roughly the size of a football field. Everybody can visualize that.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, oh my gosh. He was like, oh crap. Like she's about to
Think this is a ton?
And she's like, I spray that much just on my driveway.
Yeah.
He was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't know exactly what my point is there, but no, farmers are trying to use as little input of everything.
Well, that's been what I've said.
Fertilizer, seed, chemical, whatever. We're trying to pinch that back as far as we possibly
can. Well, I get annoyed because, and I kind of iterated this in my video that I put out on Instagram about it. I get irritated because it's like people think that food or grain or anything, they think that we're like spraying it with glyphosate like all the way up to the very end. And I put in that video, I think I was able to put it on there, or I may have to cut it out. But once a plant begins to put the fruit on, you don't spray Roundup on it anymore. Like on a bean, when the pod begins to start to develop, you don't spray Roundup anymore because it will actually damage the plant at that point. Like, so you can't, if you want to cut your yield, you would do that. So, I mean, you don't do that. I mean, that's just cutting your nose off.
And even me, having grown up in farming and having family that crop farms. So y'all typically do a pass for burn down when you're no-tilling.
Yeah.
So you spray a herbicide to kill everything either right before you plant or right after you plant before it emerges.
Yeah.
To burn everything down. Will that oftentimes include glyphosate?
Yes. Yeah, it's usually a glyphosate, acetyl, and maybe one other thing. Okay.
So then, like for soybeans, how many times will you spray Roundup over the top of your soybeans?
One.
Yeah. So once the plant has actually emerged, you're going to spray it one more time, which a lot of these crazies, they're going to say, well, even what you sprayed before, you're poisoning the ground.
Oh,
like, the ground is poison forever. You know,
I'll spray.
You ever grow will have glyphosate in it. You know.
It will. Well, they say. So I'll spray a burn down pass. If I did it traditionally, you know, when I do the green thing, I'll spray right behind the planter. And it kills everything, but let's eliminate that. Let's say I'm doing traditional, because this past year I did
traditional no crop,
traditional no-till. I did that more this past year. So I'll go in. Ideally, you want to do it 10 to 14 days before you go into plant. You spray a burn down. Again, that's I've never been shy about saying it's Roundup, Sharpen, and Fire Zone is like my go-to burn down, and it's scorched earth. Out there generally. Sharpen's badass.
Yeah, it kills all vegetation.
Kills everything. And you go in there, like I said, 2 weeks later, I'll plant. Ideally, if you get a good burn down, a good kill, you try to ride it out as long as you can. Some guys will plant and then immediately follow it with a pre-emerge and something else. I actually don't oftentimes. I will try to, if I get a good kill.
Well, it was just to break it on out. So pre-emergent is preventing weed seeds that are in the ground from germinating and coming up.
But you have to put it, pre-emerge means pre-emergence of the plant. So you can't spray pre-emerge like once the beans have come up.
Yep.
On that.
And so are the beans resistant to that pre-emergent? And that's how that works? Because I've always, me not being a crop guy, I'm like, well, what keeps it from keeping the beans from emerging?
You know, we have actually sprayed pre-emerge before, and the beans have come up, and then a heavy rain happened, and it caused the pre-emerge to splash on the bean, and it killed the beans.
Okay, because I know there are some issues there, and like, say you get messed up and you have to change the crop you're going to plant, and it's like, well, we already put down a pre-emerge, so then I can't come back with a different crop or whatever. So we don't need to get too off in the weeds. But all that.
But that is the case. So, but what I like to do is get a good kill on that burn down, and then I'll ride it out and let the beans get up. Ideally, I want the beans to get up in big enough size where I can jump in there one more time. And I can spray.
You're trying to spray as few times as you have to.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
It's time, it's fuel, it's chemical, it's everything.
Money.
Yeah, it's all that's money.
Yep. Yeah. And so if I can let the beans come up and get up as big as they can before I go back in and spray, ideally, I want to try to let those bastards get up big enough to where I can drop in there, I can spray them, and then they canopy over pretty quick. Because if I can get a good kill and then they canopy over, then you don't have near the weed pressure because the sunlight.
Yeah, and by canopy over, you just mean like literally the canopy created by the plant shades out the surrounding ground, so you don't have emergence of a lot of other weeds.
Yes. Yeah. If you can block the sun from hitting that bare dirt, you can eliminate a large portion of your weeds. And that's kind of the biggest thing. And so that second spraying, but so you got burn down, and then my second spraying is going to be, like I said, that will be, it's going to have some Roundup in it. It's going to have Liberty, is what we've gone to since dicamba has become, dicamba's been so attacked. But if it'd be Liberty or dicamba, and I'll typically have maybe one or two other things. Sometimes I even throw, like if the beans are up big enough, I'll throw a K-leaf, some liquid fertilizer in the mix. But
the whole controversy is now that the Tennessee state legislature is presenting this bill. I guess it's going to go up for vote soon, that will prevent civil litigation against these manufacturers. And I guess you say that included the retailers too, like they were going to try to, which that's the crazy thing. Like, I've always heard lawyers say, like, you can sue anybody for anything. Yeah. People can, it doesn't mean they'll win. A lot of them get thrown out in these frivolous lawsuits, but unfortunately, a lot of times that still costs money. Even if it doesn't go anywhere, I guess defendant still is going to have some lawyer fees and whatever, in the process of getting it thrown out.
Yeah. Well, so a lot of the controversy on this is, and I'm going to reference Shawn Ryan again. I'm not trying to pick on Shawn. He's just a big voice that's sharing something.
He was the big celebrity. Before I saw anything from you or anything, I saw that he was out there. I was like, whoa. Yeah. Which I didn't even realize he was in Tennessee, because I was like, why is he specifically?
Yeah, he lives in Nashville.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
So, yeah, he was like, man, these bastards in Tennessee, our politicians have sold us out.
He went scorched earth.
He did, and he said, you can thank them now, because if this bill passes, then there's going to be Roundup. He said, you think cancer's bad now, the cancer's going to be rampant. He said,
if this bill passes, all of a sudden we're going to spray that much more.
It's going to just be the damn Wild West.
The farmers are all of a sudden going to just spray that much more.
Yeah, it's like riding a horse naked with Roundup spraying.
Because there's so much money going around, y'all are just looking to spend as much money as you possibly can in this next crop.
You're damn right.
Every crop going forward.
And that's what he literally went as far as saying, there's going to be Roundup in every bit of water we drink, in all of the food that we eat. And he was like, Roundup's going to be everywhere.
Which I would dare say, today we're probably using as much Roundup as we ever will.
Yeah.
Because going forward,
well, it's losing its efficiency as well, or its potency.
One, it just does not work near as well as it does.
Yeah.
Two, with the farm economy and everything where it is, I don't know that we're about to see more and more acres of beans and corn and cotton and crops that, use Roundup, regularly.
Yep.
Coming into play. Maybe hopefully things are going to change, and maybe you'll see some more acres, incentivized. Maybe not what I was saying. Hopefully the commodity price will be good enough. Maybe you'll see some incentive to maybe be more acres grown in the future. But it's like we've been using this chemical for 30 plus
a long
years.
Time. Yeah.
It's not like if this bill passes, we're going to all of a sudden look to use a whole lot more of it. Nothing. And whether this bill passes or not, or whatever, I feel like we're moving. Everybody's trying to figure out ways to save money, do less.
Well, what kind of tickled me on it?
There's no scenario where I see us all of a sudden using a whole lot more of it for any reason.
Well, and my thing was, and this was my big pushback with Shawn, because I'm like, all right, people were asking like, well, what side of the fence are you on? Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing? I was like, well, here's my big thing that I wanted to point out to Shawn specifically. As a farmer, I use glyphosate. I am bound by the label. I'm bound by the label on everything. I just mentioned dicamba earlier. Dicamba is in a shitstorm of whether or not it's even going to be approved for use again, because it has been a nightmare for 3 years. Not from a danger standpoint, but from a volatilization standpoint. It'll just go. It'll travel. Drift. Yeah, it'll travel. It'll travel several miles down the road.
You have to be real careful about time of day.
We have to spray after 8 o'clock in the morning and before 4 o'clock in the afternoon or something.
Was the only times you could spray.
Only time we could spray, and there actually needed to be a 3 to 5 mile an hour wind, and you couldn't spray any further than 24 inches away from the plant.
So all kinds of restrictions on how you had to act, how and when you had to actually apply it.
Yes. And if you went outside of those specs, then you were off label, and you were open to any sort of litigation that there was. You were open to investigation, and there was USDA people riding around. I mean, people were getting checked.
You hear all kinds of stories of people like filming people that they thought were spraying it inappropriately. I was always nervous as a whore in church. I was like, man, because any little thing could put you off label. So I was always so scared. But that was just dicamba, okay? Roundup, all these things, they all have labels, like waterways. Almost every chemical is labeled basically to not spray into waterways. And that's where Shawn was like, well, it's going to be in all the waterways, like all of our water. And I'm like, man, dude, and that was my whole point was this is not going to create the Wild West of chemicals. Like, and I got a list here. Like in plain English, here we go. What it does and what it doesn't do. What it does, just to again reiterate, if a pesticide had an EPA-approved label under FIFRA at the time of sale, the manufacturer/seller is not liable in Tennessee civil court for claims related to labeling, including failure to warn, because that's the big one. They're like, well, you didn't warn that this could cause cancer. Well, they've deemed it safe. So, like, I've joked on the show. I feel like that's so damn dangerous. Like, it could cause cancer. Well,
but everything can. We're drinking whiskey. I eat bacon.
Right. The dose. Like, the sun causes cancer.
Yeah.
The sun is also, without the sun, none of us are sitting here right now.
That's true.
Like, I mean,
yeah.
It
is. So, it's too broad. But the carve out, the shield does not apply if the pesticide was manufactured/sold in violation of Tennessee pesticide law or FIFRA. So it has to fall under that label. What it does not do, Shawn, I want you to hear me out, man. I hope you're listening. It doesn't remove EPA regulation. It does not let farmers ignore labels. It doesn't legalize misuse or illegal products. It's about liability exposure, not more chemicals. So that's the thing, man. It's not going to be like it's just not going to create this free-for-all that's going to allow us to go balls to the wall with these chemicals, man. Again, let's even cost aside, we're still legally bound by the label. Every farmer out there that buys chemicals and uses them, if he's buying them legally, he has had to attend a private applicator licensing test where we go and we sit through some very boring USDA put on, or UT Ag may have actually done ours, but you earn your private applicator license. You even have to take a test at the end of it. You got to watch all these videos. They go over like the safety and all the, all this stuff. Go over the labeling. And I mean, the labeling is what we live or die by in the chemical world.
And I still go back to the person applying it, you're more worried about the safety of it than anybody else.
Yeah, because I'm there.
Because you're not only consuming the end product that ends up at the grocery store or wherever, you're the one out there handling it, applying it,
rubbing it on my wiener. I mean, damn.
You live literally. I mean, we're just a quarter mile from your house. Your house is in the middle of a soybean field.
My kids run around out there.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. And I go back to, a lot of people are like, just jerk the rug out, eliminate it. Okay. Right or wrong, the system has been put in place for generations. And a lot of it started with the industrialization of farming.
Yeah.
Allowed, us to go from, the majority of people produce their own food to all of a sudden people left the farm, left rural areas, moved into the suburban and urban environments, had a job in town, and relied on somebody else to grow their own food. Well, as that has gone further and further and further to where we're now at the point where less than 2% of the population are actually producing the food, we're required to have guys growing at extreme scale. Well, in order to do that, we've relied on chemicals, fertilizer, all sorts of, mechanical advancements in equipment. You could go on and on. And so, and I'm not going to sit here and say that system is perfect. I mean, we argue all the time. We wish that we could get more people back to the farm, get back to where a small to medium size operation could be profitable, and we're going against the get big or get out.
Yeah.
Logan talks about he's 100% no till. Back before we had Roundup and the Roundup, ready crops. Then we plowed the hell out of the ground.
Yeah. I still like to run a disc.
Which I know, prior to that, was there any burn down prior to that? Because obviously they couldn't spray anything over the top of the crop. They would cultivate.
Well, I mean, there was probably some, but everybody just pulled a disc and a do-all.
Yeah.
Cold steel, man.
Yeah, you plowed the ground before you planted it, and then I guess they had to cultivate.
You had cultivators between the rows.
Which basically you're plowing between the rows of your plants to mechanically remove the weeds that were coming up. And then, of course, you get a 2-inch rain
and
the next day.
6 inches of topsoil.
The topsoil goes everywhere. And, it's well documented. I mean, the miracle that life exists on the planet. We mentioned, we can't survive without sunshine and water. And literally just that thin layer of topsoil, which is thinner in some places than others, is what allows all life. Pretty much. Like that's where all our food in some shape or fashion comes from that topsoil.
So I'm gonna break this down to you.
So that top, like if we want to go back to that, it's well documented how damaging that is.
But then to read, what is that book? The Hardest Times. I think is what it's called. It's on the Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
You go read that book. That's what I've told people. There's been people that have said to me,
we sure don't want to go back to that.
Oh, dude, I've had people that are like, you need to just go back to the way they used to farm. And I'm like, have you ever heard of the Dust Bowl? So here is the pros and the cons.
There we go.
Because I was like, all right, we need to hit both angles. So first of all, the pros. No labeling by jury. Supporters argue that labels are federally controlled under FIFRA, and they tort verdicts effectively. They rewrite labels through fear and settlements. That has been one of the things. All right, you want to talk about upsetting some people? I'm about to upset some people. And I kind of hinted at this in my video that I put up on Instagram. If I think I've shared on here before, I have a lymph node that's permanently enlarged over here in my neck. And I remember it's been there for like 3 years. I remember when I first found it, I was like, oh shit, I got the lymphoma from the damn Roundup. And I went to the doctor. I was going for like a physical, and I was like, hey, I got a damn lymph node over here. And she felt it, and she's like, oh yeah, that's nothing. I'd actually had COVID, and it remained permanently enlarged. And so I was like, damn, I got damn lymphoma. And I was like, I'm about to go sue Monsanto, get $100 million, because at the time it was still Monsanto. What this would mean is that if I went, again, I've been to the doctor twice for any people that's worried. They've checked it. They say I'm good. I mean, I might be dead in a year. You never know, hell, these days. But anyways, I can't just say, if let's say it was lymphoma, I can't go and say it's because I've been farming. It's from this Roundup. And then I go and see, and this is where the people that attack Roundup and all this like crazy, they say, look at the payouts that they've done in court. Look at this and look at that. I'm like, okay, here's the deal. When I go to court, I don't have to convince a jury of scientific fact. I can appeal to their emotions. Like if I can just emotionally convince the jury that this is what caused my cancer, by God, and they vote in my favor, that still does not confirm that scientifically I was given cancer because of Roundup. That just means that we had an effective emotional argument that proved our point.
And I'm sure we have lawyers out there listening. I'm pretty sure in a civil court, as opposed to like a criminal, because obviously, like a criminal trial, it has to be unanimous, guilty. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure in civil, they just have the
majority.
The burden of proof. Yeah, it's just if they believe it's 51% more likely that it did cause it versus 49 that it didn't.
Yeah.
Then you win. And so it's a whole different. I think that's the whole thing. How OJ got wasn't criminally charged with killing.
Well, he was innocent.
Right, criminally he was, but then
No, he didn't do it.
but then he lost the civil suit. Because I remember I was a little kid when that was going on. I was like, wait a second, he won the big trial that really mattered, but then like he got sued, his ass, he had to pay the families like enormous amounts of money. Like, how does that work?
That
like,
guilty bastard.
Well, because in my like child mind at the time, I'm like, he either did it or he didn't.
Yeah.
Like, what's the
Yeah.
deal? Like, if he did it and he has to pay him the money, well, then he did it and he needs to be in prison or on death row.
Agreed.
But no, there's a different, burden of proof or whatever, is the correct terminology there for.
Well, to sum, like just to quickly sum what I was saying, like just because you win a case in court does not mean that it's a scientific fact.
Oh no, and that's even true in criminal. All the,
Yeah,
the DNA evidence that now, like they've gone back and like, oh,
there's
shit,
been innocent people that were put in
Oh
prison.
shit, this guy was criminally convicted.
Yeah.
The jury was unanimous.
Somebody
that he
jerked off in a sock and put it in there and said it was his. Like, no, but so, damn, my brain. So that's the first one. The second one that's the pro is it protects the toolbox. And this is kind of myself as a farmer. Again, I'm not revealing like my thoughts on like my 100% yes, my 100% no on this. But protect the toolbox is this is one of the things that really has concerned me about it. Some of our buddies at Farm Bureau, we've talked about this. The problem with these constant lawsuits against companies like this, anybody can go and sue them. They get sick. You get Parkinson's, you get cancer, whatever. You can go and sue these companies. And even if they don't like lose in court, they're still having to pay to fight you. They have lawyers on staff. They're having to pay to handle these things. And so all this does after time, it wears and wears and wears and wears and wears and costs these companies money. At some point, these companies, some of them will reach a point where they're going to be like, it is no longer profitable to produce this chemical.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And so glyphosate, one of the parts that I kind of get tickled about with Roundup, if they outlawed Roundup today, it would not slow down glyphosate one penny. I don't use Roundup hardly ever. I use generic glyphosate. That's what I use. So
do you think those generics would go away too if Bayer all of a sudden said, we're taking our ball and going home?
No. Nope.
The generics would still keep rolling out there.
Yeah, I think so. Because right now it seems to be very aimed at Roundup. And so now unless they could somehow go after the actual formulation, if they could go after the formulation of glyphosate, maybe. But here's the deal.
You think there'd still be a company or two out there who'd be like, all right,
I think there would be some that would seize the day, my friend.
Because obviously then they would get a huge share.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden the demand for their specific generic product would go way up and be like, all right, well, yeah, this is worth it now.
I think they would seize the day.
Supply and demand. Yeah. And there'd be a whole lot less supply and all of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah, when they outlawed, there's a reason. I did not. I am legitimately saying I did not do this. Like, not even joking. I really didn't do this. When they outlawed dicamba, there was a sudden large purchasing of generic dicamba.
Yeah, people were buying
people were stockpiling that shit up
as they could before they couldn't get it.
Yeah, they were like, we got to get that shit. And
well,
so
I've seen it with some veterinary medications where some of these companies go bankrupt or whatever, and a name brand product that we've used forever goes off the market. You're like, well, shit, like we really used that, we really liked it, and a lot of times it's not a product that had near as much controversy surrounding it as glyphosate or Roundup. And you're like, well, we really need this, and all of a sudden you'll have like a small like compounding type pharmacy or whatever come up with it, and like, oh yeah, like you're like, oh, this is a miracle, like buy the shit out of it. Because we haven't been able to get this product for 2 or 3 years, and now all of a sudden somebody's making it again.
And to like further hammer in the nail and protect the toolbox, we got to have a host of chemicals, because we're seeing with Roundup, glyphosate, the effectiveness of that chemical is not very good anymore. Like, it doesn't do near as well. You have to use either a higher rate, you got to put the seed oil in there to hotten it up. Like, it's not as effective as it once was because it's been used so much. And
nature finds a way.
It does. And so it's losing its potency. And so you got to have different chemicals and different chemistries to go to. The problem is if it starts to become non-profitable, these companies are going to stop looking at new and productive ways to do that because they're just going to find another avenue that's more profitable to go towards. And so, like clethodim is the other grass killer. You got glyphosate, and then clethodim is the other big one that you either use around here. You use glyphosate or you use clethodim. Sometimes you use both of them because neither of them are that great by themselves. But the way I feel about it is this is never ending. Like, the people that don't like glyphosate will also not like clethodim, and they will not like the other.
Right. They're not, because a lot of these people, I mean, they're maniacs, and they're not, a lot of them aren't scientists by any stretch of the imagination. Shawn Ryan, what's his background? He's military.
Yeah, he was he was a Navy SEAL, and he was CIA. And I mean, so, he was CIA.
And I'm a smart dude, no doubt. But, not a chemist or scientist by any stretch. Any chemical, like if you even say the name chemical,
some people's ears perk up.
Yeah.
Did you see who was one of the big commenters on his?
No.
It was a person that is just the bane of my existence online. Oh man, this chick commented on his and was like, "The bill got pulled, Shawn. Thank you so much." And it was that damned the food babe.
I figured that's who you're going to say.
Gosh, I can't stand that chick. She is the most, I don't hate the idea of somebody wanting to eat super clean. That's great, man. That is awesome. But she is the most fear-mongering bitch on the planet.
Yeah.
I just can't stand that chick. And she's got 1 million followers or something. She's got something huge.
Fear sells.
Fear sells. And she's the type that will she'd make a post and just be like, ban all herbicides. And that'd be all that it says. And all of her commenters would be like, yes, this is awesome. And they just foam at the mouth and see that. And I'm like,
they're just throwing red meat out there
yeah,
for people.
That's the stupidest thing. That you can't just ban all herbicides. Do you realize how stupid this is? But they don't. And it just drives me nuts. I'm like, but they know a post like that is a virality frenzy, man. That's just going to drive, people are going to see it. There's going to be people that are going to share the shit out of it, comment the shit out of it.
And that's really not that they don't care about people, but when they're looking at it from a business standpoint,
oh, that's gold, man.
Wow, this post got a shit ton of engagement, and I picked up 20,000 followers. Every time I post something like this,
I didn't offer a real solution, but man, I really got a lot of engagement.
Yeah, I fear-mongered, and it sold.
Yep. All right, let me run down through some more of this. Man, we could do 2 episodes on this kind of thing. So then stability, it's less legal roulette. So more consistent supply and availability. So again, if you have more consistent supply and availability, it ought to make it a little cheaper, make it a little more affordable. Not a blanket immunity. That was another big thing. The bill still allows suit if the product was illegally manufactured or sold. So, the supporters will tell you that the EPA already regulates this. This just prevents Tennessee courts from second-guessing labels after the fact. That's the stone cold truth of it. All right, I want to run through the cons real quick. This is what people on the other side of the fence would say. It cuts off the failure to warn. If the label doesn't warn about a disease/risk, opponents argue this bill blocks the most common path to sue in Tennessee for that alleged harm. So I guess some people would almost say, well, what if they don't know that it causes so-and-so and then this person develops this disease from using it? Now they can't even, and it somehow was touted, they can't sue them because of that.
Okay.
Less incentive, less urgency. Even if regulation doesn't change, opponents say liability is part of what forces transparency and faster label updates. So I guess they're saying because they don't want to get sued, they have to be far more transparent with the labeling, which I don't know that I think that that's going to make a big difference there.
Yeah. Well, and something that I've heard other people point out, the stricter they tighten the guidelines on these chemicals, it really creates a barrier to new products coming out.
Yeah.
Now, again, some people may argue, well, the new products may be even worse, and you're right. but it also eliminates a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Like it or not, and I think we'd probably be on the side of we don't like it, that there's a huge monopoly or oligopoly within, big ag and the chemical companies. Their competitors, I'll say Logan and I somehow developed a chemical that would really work. We've tested it out here, whatever. There's so much red tape and regulation into getting a product to market. We couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't even matter if it was the most brilliant idea ever.
Yeah.
We would have to then, well, it probably would just die, or we would have to sell it to one of these bigger companies.
I was going to say, we would have to sell it. Yeah.
A lot of these big companies, in many ways, love all the regulations and red tape because they've got the capital to sift through 10, 15 years of, the red tape, the testing, and everything else to get a product to market. The tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars it takes to do that. Whereas, a small little startup company couldn't do that. And so in some ways, all this regulation de-incentivizes, a lot of that new innovation.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree. So here's the biggest one. And this, I think, is one of the ones Shawn hit on. And it's kind of funny because this one actually is more emotional than anything. And it's public perception. This essentially...
Big bad chemical company is now has immunity.
Yeah.
And the Tennessee legislators are voting to get, voting in favor of the big corporate ag companies rather than taking care of their constituents.
And that's what Shawn was saying, and that's what it says here. It makes ag look like it's protecting corporations, even if farmers are simply trying to preserve legal clarity and product access. And Shawn literally even said this in his video. He made the remark, this bill protects foreign companies, not even American companies. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, okay, it does actually protect foreign companies and domestic companies. It's no part of this bill says this is only immunity for foreign companies. No, it's for both of them, man. And again, I'm really frustrated. The biggest reason that I was frustrated with this, honestly, is the fact that Shawn has such a huge following and he says stuff like this. And I said this in the video, and I think Shawn, I really don't believe Shawn intended it this way, but when you put out a video like that, you actually villainize farmers because it makes us look like, because we're the guys using the chemicals. And then when you say there's now going to be Roundup in the water we drink, in the food that we eat, and you say things like that, well, then you're basically saying because the farmers are going to go fucking crazy with these chemicals and they're going to use them like crazy, they're going to spray them in our water. And it's like, that's not true. And it makes the farmers look bad. We already get attacked. We get attacked. And I like Joe Rogan. I listen to him more than I have Shawn, but Joe's just as bad. Damn it. Like we got two of the biggest podcasts in the world. Like Shawn is right up there with Rogan now. We have two of the biggest podcasts in the damn world, and they're essentially attacking like traditional agriculture.
Yeah, and we're as anti-big corporate ag as anybody. We've highlighted, that's one of the big things we talked about at Farm Bureau Convention, how out of touch corporate ag, whether it's the chemical companies, the fertilizer suppliers, the equipment manufacturers, how they're still making a lot of money. They're wanting the farmers to get these handouts because they know it just allows them to keep their prices inflated.
Yeah. And
so we're really kind of at, I won't say at war, but against the big corporate control of everything.
Yeah.
But again, I go back to a lot of all this super regulation of everything has kind of insulated them from having any new competitors come along.
Yeah.
And so we're not certainly apologists for the corporate side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I'm glad in all honesty that I don't have to vote for this bill. Like I don't have to vote yay or nay. Because a friend of mine that's a farmer, he actually wrote back to me and we were talking about it and he was like, man, I just don't know how I feel about this. And he said, I don't know that I want to grant immunity to these big companies. He said, because what about, we don't know some of the long-term effects of some of these things. And he actually said he has a family member that I guess developed Parkinson's, and I don't know if they went to court or what, but like they kind of somehow linked it back. And I told him, I said, well, man, I said, here's the deal. I said, it's really hard to actually say this chemical caused this, because I mean, hell, I eat Taco Bell every now and then. That's some damn processed shit. We're drinking whiskey right now. Hell, we were joking about cigarettes. I've smoked some cigarettes in my life. I used to chew tobacco like crazy. I still will occasionally throw a chew in. I eat bacon. I like do a lot of shit that's probably not that good for me. And so it's like, how do I know what it really came from? And actually, me and Marcy have talked about this. Man, at this point in my life, we both, and maybe this is a shitty way to look at it. I do know so many people that have gotten cancer that honestly, I'm just not going to live my life worried about it. Like,
well, and I see it on the veterinary side. Like people, I mean, we get this there too. Like, man, so many more pets get cancer today than they did, 20, 30 years ago. Like,
and you're like, yeah, they used to die when they were 5.
That's one point. Yes. Yeah, they used to die from heartworms all the time in our part of the country. We didn't have any good heartworm prevention. Didn't have a good way to test for heartworms. Didn't have any of that until the last 20, 30 years. Yeah, we let them run loose. They got hit by a car. They got chewed up by your neighbor's dog. Like, yeah, I mean, to me, yeah, it's not a news flash that right now that our pets live to be teenagers routinely, other stuff catches up with them.
Yeah.
We also have better tools
to catch these things.
To diagnose. Right, exactly. Like when my dad first got out of school, like even shooting a damn x-ray was a damn act of Congress.
Yeah.
Getting a blood panel back on a dog or cat meant waiting days for results. Now I have it in literally a few minutes.
I think
just because we diagnose a lot more of these diseases now doesn't mean they're that much more common today.
Yeah.
I mean it used to, like 30 was old.
Well, I was going to say, I think about people.
Yeah, they didn't die of a lot of cancer in their 80s because they didn't
were
make
killed
it.
by a saber-toothed tiger when they were 31 years old. Like, yeah, that's what I think about when people are like, we need to just go back to the caveman days. And I'm like, that's right. You found a woman you liked, you just bashed her over the head with a stick and you took her home. And it's like, you
impregnated her. You were like 13. She was like 10.
Yeah, and you're just like, ooga, ooga. Yeah,
because both of you were unlikely to even make it to 20.
Yeah, she's probably going to die during childbirth. Yeah, you're going to get mauled to death by a grizzly bear, and
because you're out having to like hunt and gather all the food for them.
Yeah, you eat the wrong mushrooms and you die at 26 years old. So, you didn't get cancer because you were already dead by now. So that is the thing, man. I do think about that, and it's like, look, so we do live longer. We live longer. The average age of a person is getting longer. And but I said this to somebody. I said, how sedentary are we today? How sedentary are we today? And how shitty is our diet? Our diet is shitty as hell. Like Bio Lane, do you follow him on Instagram?
I believe I do.
So it's Lane Norton, and he's like a scientist or doctor. He's got his doctorate. He's a really smart guy. He makes a lot of people mad on social media. But he put out a thing one time actually about glyphosate. And he was talking about glyphosate and vegetables. And he's big on randomized clinical human trial, like randomized human trials. And one of the things that he was talking about was they did trials where the people that ate a lot of vegetables and produce that had been like in some way, form, or fashion and burned down, whatever, glyphosate was used, these people still had less disease and less like illness than the people that just did not eat these chemicals at all, or didn't eat vegetables. His whole point of this was, if you eat a lot of produce that's been grown,
no matter how it's grown,
however it's grown, you are infinitely healthier than the other person who's not. And he was like, it doesn't matter if the farmer if it's organic or if it's conventional. He was like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're still eating a healthier meal. And so that was his big thing on that.
And like the whole, everybody knows somebody who has cancer, who has died of cancer. again, I relate a lot of it back to the pet side because that's something I see literally every single day, multiple times a day. When someone or something we love gets cancer, terminally ill or not, let's just say terminally ill, and dies, especially when it happens at a younger age than what we, your dog dies when it's 6. Your mom dies when she's 50.
Yeah.
Dies too young of a disease like cancer. It's incredibly emotional.
Yeah.
And you do go through a process of why, what caused this? Is it, because, my mom grew up, in the middle of a crop field where they used chemicals. Is it because my dog was eating, Purina dog food, and then all these, manufactured foods or something I've done. And because I've been there, thankfully not with an immediate family member, but with my pets.
I was going to say, you've had 2 dogs, haven't you?
I've had 2 dogs, and I've had a lot of dogs. And I've had dogs.
Yeah, Bobby has like 17 dogs right now that sleep in his bed at night.
But I've had my first dog I had when I was in school died actually of lymphoma.
Was that Brittany?
No, that was Peyton.
Peyton,
a little rat terrier when she was 6.
Yeah.
Brittany died of lung cancer. She barely made it to 10.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to equate an animal's life to a personal life just because that's what I've been through, very emotionally close to me. Thankfully my kids, my parents are still with me. But you rack your brain, especially when that first one of mine died, like it had to have been something I fed her, had to have been this, had to have been that. Like I see dogs every day, cats that are,
way overweight.
Yeah,
Shit.
A lot of bad shit happens, and I know people want a better explanation for that.
We live in, look, to get a little biblical
people
here.
People love to blame things. Like you got to find something to blame. I know, and I'm not going to use all the specific examples, but like I know someone whose parents had dementia or Alzheimer's, and they were convinced that it was caused by this one thing. And I was like, what? But another friend of mine was like, just don't bring it up because it's too emotional for them. It's too emotional. They can't. That again sounds harsh, but they don't think clearly on it because they're
like, it's all that damn KY jelly. They use that shit all the time, and I kept telling them not to use that shit, and they just kept on, and it got to them.
Yeah.
So the bill right now has stalled. It has basically been pulled. I told you the food babe commented that to Shawn, and was like, yes, queen, yes, queen. So it has stalled right now. It's most likely getting drafted up. I got some, one of the cool things with the recent kind of burst in the podcast is I've got some inside sources now in the political realm. And, I got off the phone with Trump earlier. He was asking me to come attack Greenland, but I told him I was busy. So instead, we did talk about this thing's probably going to come back. It sounds like it's been pulled essentially to be kind of reworked, and then it's going to be entered back. Most likely, it's probably going to be snuck into a bill and come back.
To do that, which that's a whole different subject.
It is. Before we run out of time, so I guess hold on. So that's kind of that. There's something else I want to talk about real quick before we run out of time. So where do you stand on it?
I think. I lean towards being in favor of the bill passing. I don't think it changes a whole lot of anything.
Yeah.
Again, we're using. I feel like maybe there's some statistics out there. Again, less of these chemicals. It's been the theme for the last several months. Farming's not great right now, especially on the crop side. Y'all are trying to use less of everything.
Of everything.
You're trying to cut back your seed cost, your fertilizer, your chemical, everything, and you don't cut back your chemical cost by spraying a higher rate of glyphosate. And so, and I am in the camp of I think it is pretty darn safe.
Yeah.
You can't prove that it doesn't cause any potential negative harm. And then that goes back to this could go for hours. There may be some people that are a lot more susceptible to it. And, You know, it's like, you know, everybody's got that granddad or great uncle that smoked a pack a day and, you know,
Lived to be 98 years old.
yeah. And then, you know, that person that, you know, smoked a pack a week and died of lung cancer at 45. You know, what's the difference? You know, something genetically probably. Hell, maybe the cigarettes weren't even what caused that lung. We all know people have died of lung cancer that never smoked. You know, so there's, you know, correlation and causation, that whole sort of thing too. I'm like you. We need the tools in the toolbox. We don't need all the chemical companies to take their ball and go home and say, you know what?
I think it is. Look, I'm just going to say this. I think that I'm with you. I would say that I would be in favor of this bill because I think that people have gotten so happy. You know, I think if you get
that ain't even a debate.
you know, there's probably some dude that's sitting around wishing he'd get lymphoma so that he can go get about $20 million from Bayer.
If when I leave here tonight, I got about a 7-minute drive home. If I listen to an FM radio station, odds are I'm going to hear an
Morgan
ad.
and Morgan.
Yeah, NST is the way to go.
Yeah, go NST is the way to go.
Have you been? You know, all you know, these are all TV lawyers.
If you drive a semi truck, for God's sakes, have insurance because you're going to get your ass sued at some point in your life.
like that, they're ambulance chasing lawyers.
Ambulance chasing sons of bitches.
I mean, right? Sue anybody for anything.
Yeah.
It does not even matter.
Gosh, damn
we
it.
live in a very litigious society.
We do. And that's where, see, this immunity thing to me, where it would help is right now, it is like this massive.
Would help the lawyers.
It would, yeah. And it's like a massive broad stroke. If it's like any illness you get, oh shit, I can take them to court. If I can somehow convince them, man, I can get them. So that's the shit that wears me out. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say I'm probably in favor of this bill.
And I would go back to break this way on down. If you are truly worried about your health,
grow your own shit.
That, or just go to the grocery store instead of buying, you know, frozen pizza and a box of cornflakes and, you know, hamburger helper and hitting the drive-through and at the McDonald's and wherever. And hell, I hit a drive-through yesterday on my way to go duck hunting.
Yeah.
We all do that. Eat whole meats, vegetables, fruits, dairy, that sort of thing. Try to clean up your diet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder how many people are like celebrating this.
That have like just left McDonald's.
Yeah, or they're going to the store before the snowpocalypse hits tomorrow night. They're buying a bunch of frozen pizzas and shit like that.
Yeah, and we're not hating on you guys for eating those things. I love to eat that shit.
You're damn right I do.
I actually went yesterday. I bought a bunch of Kelly's canned chili. And so we're not hating on those people. If you're one of those that goes and gets it, we're not hating on you. We're hating on the ones that are buying that shit while attacking this shit. Because
they're like, I'm not going to buy that broccoli at the grocery store because it might have glyphosate on it.
But I'm going to eat a Tombstone pizza all damn night.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. So the other big one here that really chapped some asses. Man, that was chemical that's a really easy topic on the show, honestly. But I got to hit on this real quick because there's some pissed off folks on this. The E15 shit.
The 15% ethanol.
It did not make it. They didn't put it in the bill. All of the corn, NCGA, National Corn Growers Association, the Farm Bureau, almost all of the big ag groups were like the big, I don't want to say big ag groups, that's a dangerous term. All of the farmer groups were like, we need this E15 shit to pass because I've got
sop
actually
up some of that corn supply.
Yeah, you know how much corn supply it would sop up? Pretty good bit. About 2.4 billion bushels of corn annually. That's pretty good. That actually, so I've got some numbers here because I was like, what would that look like for us in terms of like, all right, because the NCGA is really pissed. Like they might strap a bomb to some of those guys' cars later on. They were so mad. But here's what a speculation of how much that could have changed our markets. So a conservative guess, and I'm trying to put this in layman's terms here. So corn right now, I don't know. I don't even look at the prices right now because it sucks. But it's been like $4.30 a bushel for corn right now. Most guys break even on corn. Average yields is like $5 a bushel, so it still sucks. If this E15 thing would have passed, and yeah, for people wondering what is that, the E15 deal was the Corn Growers Association and Farm Bureau and all these were saying, hey, let's up the ethanol percentage in gasoline from 10% to 15%. Your car is still going to run fine on 15%. And but it's going to be a domestic use of our corn. And actually, I think some people argued that it would probably lower the cost of gasoline as well. So here's what it could have possibly done for farmers. On a conservative side of things, it could have raised our corn prices 10 to 20 cents a bushel, which is a pretty good little jump. The bullish case, which is actually what more people speculated, it could raise our prices 25 cents all the way up to 60 cents a bushel, which that's why the corn growers were like, you sons of bitches. You know, like they were like, I mean, they put up a post and they were like, we are disgusted at these despicable pieces of shit. Like it's basically what they said. But I mean, 60 cents could actually push corn to a break-even cost for guys. Yeah. Like, and I mean, break-even, people are like, well, break-even, that sounds like shit. But when you've been looking at a loss, a break-even sounds pretty good. So it's like, damn it, man. Like this could have drove us to potentially break-even cost. And I mean, there is even some people that are like, oh, this could have raised it $1. Now they're really reaching, but like, I mean, $1 would have been nuts. But like, dude, if we could have got up, even if we could got up to 480, I mean, that's an improvement from where we are. And at this point, basically, we'll take any improvement in the markets we can get. And essentially, they said, nope, they didn't put it in the bill. They've punted it down the road. Who knows when or if it'll ever get in another bill. And people are pretty pissed about it.
Yeah. I jumped on the tweeter, and their exact quote here is, corn growers are disgusted, disappointed, and disillusioned that after spending years of calling for passage of E15, Congress has again punted and has done so in a spectacularly weak and offensive way.
Yes, you know, I'm telling you.
That's a pretty scathing
they're pissed.
from a national group, you know.
Yeah.
Not from just some random farmer out there. You know.
Yeah, they're literally pissed. Like, for good reason, man. I mean, for good reason.
Cheap corn's good for cattle.
Yep, it is.
Which a byproduct of ethanol production is also cattle feed, is distillers' grain. So,
speaking of that,
you could have still gotten cheap feed. There would have been, I guess, more DDGs available, but
before we run out of time,
corn going up would have been bearish to the cattle market. Which, cattlemen don't have much room to complain right now.
I'm gonna try to see if I can get this to pull up. My service is going to be too crappy. We had somebody write in on our YouTube. Dang it, I can't get it to write in. They commented on there, and basically it was, they were like, it was from one of our clips from the Farm Bureau convention, and they were like, basically like, who cares if these farmers go broke? They were like, they're using chemicals, they're growing crops that nobody even wants. We don't even eat any of the things that they grow. And
you eat the things that eat the things that they grow.
That's what I commented back. I commented back a thing.
Like, it's so dumb. Like, we were in California. Like, a lot of what's grown out there are exactly the things that you eat.
Yes.
That's one of the cool things about being out there. You know, a lot of the vegetable and produce got to meet and hang out with.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's close up with talking about our time in California. We haven't really got to talk about that. We're kind of, the biggest things for tonight was HB 809, the House bill in Tennessee. It again, we're in favor of it. There you go. You got the talk dirt to me stamp. People will be pissed. Some people will be like, you're right. So there you go. I think in general, we're probably in support of that. And on the E15 thing, I would have liked to have seen that. I think that would have helped us out. The only thing that I have in the ethanol gas is I just don't run it in small motors. I run non-ethanol gas.
Yeah, we got our shout out to
Johnny's.
Yeah, Johnny up there at Pops.
Yep.
Got the ethanol free that putting all my small engine.
Yep, I went and filled up today.
Anything that's carbureted for sure.
Yeah. So that's our stances there. And so yeah, what'd you think of California?
Well, I felt just slightly more gay actually going out there. No, not really. I was thinking about this. We were out there. We really only were at 3 places the entire time we were there: the airport, the convention center, which the hotel convention center were kind of all in one.
Yeah.
And we made a quick trip out to Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much all of California we saw. So I don't think we got the full California experience, but what we saw was pretty awesome.
Dude, it was awesome, man. I have told so many people.
It was a little windy, but it was 70 degrees. It was nice.
We had some people think we were from Minnesota.
Yeah. I don't even know you think that was just because we were wearing short sleeves?
I do, yeah.
It was pretty cool out there on the pier that morning on Huntington Beach. It was like 45 degrees, but neither one of us took a lot of extra clothes or anything.
Yeah, we were going to California, man.
So we were out there in T-shirts. And this guy just immediately assumed because we were in T-shirts and didn't act like it was cold that we must be from Minnesota.
And we're just some tough sons of bitches from Tennessee.
Yeah.
But no, dude, I'm saying, man, a funny thing for me. Bobby Lee knows this. Some of our audience may know this. I may have shared this on air. I don't know. When I was like 18, I had an agent, and I did some film stuff in Memphis. And there you go.
That's a picture of me on the pier.
Yeah, Bobby Lee's looking yoked here on the pier at Huntington Beach.
I love AI.
Yeah, AI is awesome. I'd shown, I think it was on the airplane or when we were in the airport, I showed you the one I made of us as like mercenaries where we're like jacked with the M16s and stuff. Yeah. But no, when we were flying out there, I actually was thinking about this. When I was 18 or 19, at that point, because I'm 34 years old now, so that's been
16 years.
Yeah, I was going to say damn near 20 years ago now. Back then, Hollywood was actually still very much like the movie hub. And so at that age, as I was doing some film stuff, it was like this allure, like, man, California is like the cool place for film stuff. So I always dreamed about going to like LA. I never wanted to live there because I was still very much a, country boy, Tennessee dude. But I was like, man, I want to go there, just see the film stuff. And so it was funny. When we were flying there, I had this thought. I was like, damn. What a weird, and life is weird, man. I was like, I am on a plane headed to California, but I'm headed there because of farming.
It's not a big movie role.
It's not a big movie role. And like, as my childhood thoughts, it was like, man, someday I'm going to go to California, but I'm going to go for the movies. And it's like, farming took me to California. What a bizarre way. Like it's just crazy to think about. But
at the same time, of course, California is an enormous ag state. Yeah,
it is. But I was very pleasantly impressed. I asked our bartender. We were chatting with the bartender one day, and I was like, "Man, where's all the weirdos?" I was like, "I'm a little disappointed. I ain't seen any weird bastards when we're out here." And all of them were like, "Oh, you got to go to Hollywood for that stuff."
Yeah.
And then they were like, "But don't go to Hollywood. Hollywood sucks."
Because for those of you that didn't watch our last episode, shame on you. But
that's right.
Anaheim. So I guess I would consider that like a suburb of LA.
It's Orange County, but I think I'm kind of confused by how that.
Well, like the whole area there, it's just like one, like the city just goes on forever.
Yeah.
But we were in Anaheim, and of course, like I say, we were pretty much, other than the airport and our brief little trip to Huntington Beach, we were at the convention, so we were surrounded by bunch of other farmers.
Yeah.
There was like a cheerleading.
We ate dinner with Sylvester Stallone one night. That was only like, that was no big deal.
Yeah. But, so I don't feel like, we certainly didn't see the California that you see on social media and on TV,
Yeah.
There weren't any, I didn't see like any homeless people or, people taking a dump on the sidewalk. Like
I know. I was waiting to see somebody doing heroin and shitting in the street.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of that. I don't even know if I saw. Well, no, I did see one of those. Never mind. I'll tell you off air what I did see there.
We were again, kind of insulated from that. Yeah, we met a lot of people from all over the country.
Did you see any homeless people?
I don't know that I did.
I don't know that I did.
And I mean, hell, you can go to Memphis and see homeless people.
Covington. I was in Covington the other day. There was like 5 homeless people around Walmart.
Man, that's sad, especially with the weather we got coming.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can find a shelter.
Yeah, I couldn't get over how many were in Covington.
But I've been to I went to a veterinary convention, so kind of similar. You know, we're pretty much just at a convention center.
Yeah.
You're like in downtown Denver. The homeless people, yeah. Like
all over the place.
Like you literally could not even walk down sidewalks for like the homeless people. Like
Dang.
crazy. And then I mean,
were they like the tent
Seattle
cities?
and Portland were pretty bad, but I kind of expected it in Seattle and Portland. But like Denver was the one that I was like, oh my God. Like
that is because Denver's supposed to be like kind of a bustling city.
Yeah, I mean, which all these big cities are very, you know, blue. You know, lean heavily left. But like Denver, it was like a talking point. Like while you were there, it's like you can't go anywhere without just all the freaking. I was running a bunch at the time, and I would get out in the mornings and go running. Like literally, like I was like having to hurdle people. It's like I'm running down the sidewalks.
That's
like,
crazy, man.
Just bodies sleeping everywhere. I mean, I hope they were just asleep.
Yeah, yeah, dude. No, and you know. Bobby Lee and I both actually said we're gonna have to go back to California, and actually I want to take my family.
Yeah. Well, and I want to visit more like wine country, that sort of thing. Take my wife out there for.
I want to take my family,
like our 20th anniversary kind of trip.
Yeah,
coming up here in a couple of years, something like that.
I want to take my family, but I want to take them to the shittiest parts of California that I can possibly find. Like, I want. Well, no, actually,
this is like a learning moment for you. This is why you don't do drugs,
dude.
Kids.
I use that already. Like if we're watching Cops, like I love Cops. We'll watch that or something, and they'll be arresting some like just.
You love to fearmonger your kids.
I'm like, that's why you don't do drugs, because it'll be some like naked man that's like, you know, he looks like shit. He's got like looks like he has leprosy, and he's been running from the cops and all this. And I'm like, that's what's gonna happen if you do drugs. Like that is your life on drugs.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we're never gonna do drugs. Yeah. But no. Dude, I actually told some people when we were there. I think I told Bobby Lee this too. I was really I wanted to go to Hollywood really bad. One, just because of my young film aspirations. That's the movie hub. But two, I wanted to find a really weird person, and I wanted them to record a video for us and be like, check out Talk Dirt to Me, like some like junkie and like drag, and like get them to record it. And I was like, that would be a hilarious Instagram video. I would have been the one that makes people mad because they'd be like, "You're videoing homeless people" or something.
Yeah, that's a big. Where I'm going. It's like, man, that's kind of sad. Like,
well, I'd have been like, "Do you have a home?" And if they're like, "Yes," I'd been like, "Good, then shoot this video real quick," and I would have videoed them then. But I'm like, that would have been a hilarious little segment.
Yeah.
Like if we had some. Or maybe they don't have to be homeless. So find somebody like walking around. I wanted to find
just do like a man on the street interview and be like, hey, we're from Tennessee. Talk dirt to me, and like ask them some random like ag questions and see if they can answer them.
Yeah, but I wanted them to be super weird, and I didn't see a single weirdo.
Yeah, no. California was.
We rode in Teslas. We got to experience that, and that was cool. I did see some of our cohorts that were out there rode in a driverless car.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they actually rode in some that just nobody drives.
One time we were in Vegas, and this was 4 or 5 years ago. 5-6 years ago, we rode. I don't believe it was a Tesla, but it was an Uber that was self-driving, but it had a driver like in the seat.
Oh, gotcha.
Like they were like beta testing it. And,
he's like, this thing might fly off the rails.
I remember when I requested, they're like, you know, you can get like a discounted rate, and you drive in one of these. They're like testing out. I was like, well, that's fine. You know, we weren't going far, and it still had a dude in the driver's seat. He just wasn't actually driving it.
When you were getting in, he was wiping the blood out. He's like, the last guys got killed. I got to sit in here this time.
Yeah, wiping it off the hood. He's like, yeah, we hit some pedestrians. Yes. It's okay though.
Yeah, we put a new windshield in. It ejected the last 3 drivers or riders. Yeah. No, man, I liked it. I thought it was pretty awesome. Even when we flew in, I was looking around. I was like, this place looks pretty cool. Yeah. Like flying in. So I plan to go back.
I can see the allure why people want to live there, which as we're sitting here recording, we're about 24 hours from some type of winter storm hitting us. We don't know what it's going to be, but it's supposed to be big and potentially catastrophic.
We might be dead.
This could be the last episode you ever, our first and only episode in the new studio. The studio may be completely collapsed under the weight of all the ice.
Yes.
That's going to hit us. But yeah, like when we were talking to one of the local farmers from out there, like, man, I told him, I was like, man, I have a ton of respect for you guys, like out here in this environment where, no politics are against you. Like, and it's crazy and everything's super expensive, but, we call it the sun tax. Because it's, obviously we have great weather that allows us to do what we do out here. And even the people that aren't farming, I know why they live there. Yeah, the weather's awesome. And again, it was funny because when we left here Friday morning, it was like 60 degrees. We got there and it was like 60 degrees. But
oh shit! When we came home, it was like 29 degrees.
And we're getting ready for like the next 10 days to not get above freezing.
I was gonna say it's gonna be like 5 degrees this weekend. Well, that's what a guy texted me that he's from out here. After we got back, he saw our video and he texted me and he used to work in L.A. And he texted me and said, man, he would actually fly out there like I think once a week. And he said, man, y'all flew into the perfect airport. He was like, John Wayne is the airport to fly into. He said, do not fly into LAX. He said, and he goes, man, and to be honest with you, he said, and he's a diehard conservative. He said, because he asked me, he's like, what'd you think of California? And I said, dude, actually, we really liked it. And he said, man, I love California. And he said, California actually has a ton of conservatives in it. And he said, and honestly, he said, man, I understand why people live in California. Like he was like, our conservatives. He was like, I can understand why conservatives live there. Obviously, the politics suck, but like the landscape is beautiful. The weather's pretty much awesome. Like he was like, he said, when I'm working out there, he said, people try to like explain to him, like it'll be a conservative guy in California. He's like, well, we live out here. And he's like, you don't have to explain to me why you live here. Like, I understand why you live here. But it just does suck. I mean, we got to meet some of the Farm Bureau people that are from California. And one of them was telling me, he's like, man, if we could remove one of the big cities, like LA, San Francisco, and maybe like San Diego or something. He's like, if we could remove one of those cities, then California would be so freaking red, it'd be insane. Like he said, we would be locked in.
Unfortunately, I think you can say that about a lot of states. You remove Chicago, Illinois is red. I mean, it's more of a rural urban thing than it is a left versus right thing.
It is.
You get all these people packed in these super tight urban areas, and for a wide range of reasons, they vote extremely hard in one direction, and those of us in
the real world,
the suburban and definitely the rural areas, vote the other way.
Yeah,
for the most part. I mean, I'm sure there's exceptions, obviously, but
yep. You gonna cue the man up?
Cue the man up. Get off my
jacked
AI photo of me.
Ripped.
I almost put that one out there on social media. It's like, the photo dump from our trip was like, here's me at Huntington Beach.
On the pier.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
All right. I got an off-the-wall one.
That's good. I love those.
All right. I don't know if we've ever done this one or not. It's actually right here within arm's reach of us.
All right.
Have I ever done that thing right there?
I noticed that because, again, we're obviously here in the new studio. We sit behind that object that you're about to highlight here. I've never, I guess because the way it used to sit, because we didn't have as big of a table or area, I'd never noticed that, but I've looked at that several times tonight where it says Made in USA.
So this is a hyper specific item. Like the only people that would want this are going to be podcasters, musicians, or like, maybe a vlogger or something. I don't know. But the cloud lifter. My preacher's one that told me about that, because these mics that we use are dynamic mics, and they take it like they're kind of quiet mics because they don't pick up a lot of sound. It's actually an advantage of them. The Cloud Lifter gives it more power, like gives you a more dynamic voice, just gives you voice more oomph. And so I have noticed that, but I was like, man, that thing's too specific for our audience. But by God,
well, I mean,
it needs to get shouted out.
Obviously, we love when we highlight an item that our audience can run out and everybody can buy a pair of, gloves or a pocket knife or whatever that's made in USA. I mean, hell, they don't deserve not to be recognized.
That's right.
Because they're a specific product
and we've been using that thing for a long time.
Well, and typically I think of like tech products like this, like they're going to be made in Japan, China, somewhere in Asia.
Yeah. See, and Cloud Lifter's been around a long time. I can't pull it up and tell you, but that's like my preacher was the one that recommended it to me.
That's right, because he was big in the music scene.
He was big in the music scene. And so, like I said, it has like, they're a known name in the big music industry. And the one we run can actually run 4 microphones. You can get like a one mic Cloud Lifter, 2 mic Cloud Lifter, but again, I got the one for 4 because every now and then we'll have 4 mics up here. So the Cloud Lifter, it's actually one word, and it is made in the USA, and it has been around a long time. Are you able to pull it up?
Yeah, I can pull up, but I wasn't sure. It's like, where do I find out like how long they've been around? When were they?
Yeah, I don't know if it says on there.
But yeah, definitely. Obviously, they proudly have stamped on there, "Made in USA."
That's what, and we've told people before. Almost, I would say 99% of the time, if you have to go looking to find out where it's made, it's probably not made in the USA. Most of your companies that are made in USA, they realize the value in having that on the product or like right there on the website. And so they'll tell you. So
when you go to the website, it says the story began with RCA when Harry F. Olson developed whatever in the 44 and 77 series ribbon microphones. It doesn't say what year though.
Dang. It's got to have been a long time ago.
Said, and then beginning at 10 years of age, Stephen Sank studied with his father and began building upon lessons learned from the original RCA laboratory. John Sank shared more than 50 years of skill and innovation with his son Stephen before passing away in 98. But yeah, I still don't know what year. Here we go. Starting with 1930s. Well, Well, it says starting with technology. It doesn't say exactly when they started.
Okay. I was going to say, dang, if it's been around that long, that's crazy. Well, there you go, guys.
And here it says since the brand debuted in 2009. Which that's
it's definitely got to be older than that, I would think.
Made in Arizona.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Well, Cloud Lifter. If you do any sort of, like I said, podcasting, anything like that, I highly recommend a Cloud Lifter. It just pumps your sound up a lot. For people that people probably don't realize. I mean, we got the tech in here, and actually, so I'll even tease our YouTubers real quick before we close. We're adding 2 more cameras. So you guys have been used to the old standard straight on shot.
Yeah, for the people that do consume the video form, whether it's on YouTube or the clips we put out on Instagram, Facebook, and whatnot.
Yep.
The TikTok.
Yep.
I don't know.
TikTok.
We put anything on the TikTok.
We got a TikTok, but our marketing team can't even find the password right now, so I don't know if it's getting updated or not. But yes, you've been getting the straight on shot, and we're adding 2 new cameras, so we're going to have multiple camera angles. And we're going to have a board over here. I'm going to be switching through cameras. So, as much as people think we're just like 2 redneck dudes, we're pretty tech savvy when it comes to the show.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Yeah, so, guys, appreciate y'all tuning in. We're going to stay following the House bill. Keep following this stuff. Keep you updated. We want you.
I was going to say, should we share that we are going to be at the National Farmers Union?
Oh, yeah, we should. February 11th.
Because, I mean, we've recorded, until last week's episode, we've recorded every single episode. Well, I guess now we're in another studio.
Yeah.
But right here in the studio, here in West Tennessee, went on the road, did that one. Again, appreciate everybody listening to that one. That was awesome.
It was.
Great experience for us. we're also going to be, I guess, going on the road again here for too much longer at the National Farm Machinery Show. So if you're going to be there, you're going to be there for, what, 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, I think I'm going up on, we're going up on the 11th.
We're going up on Wednesday.
And then I'm leaving on Friday.
I'm going to have to get out sometime on Thursday. I'm hoping to spend some time there on Thursday, but then have to get out and get home.
Yeah.
I think actually with some type of sporting event for the kids that night. So I'm like, well, as long as I get out of there by like noon.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be there for part of the National Farm Machinery Show.
We're going to be at the Acres.
Our part of the country.
I think it's the Acres TV booth is where we're going to be. We're going to do a 30-minute segment there.
Yep.
But we want you guys to come by. And yeah, like I said, it's going to be more closer in our neck of the woods, not 1,800 miles away.
Yeah, we can give you some more details as it gets closer. But, on Wednesday afternoon at some point, we will be at the Acres TV booth.
Yep, doing a show. Come by and see us. Also, guys, please leave us those ratings. 5-star ratings on Apple, on Spotify. Hit the follow button. And, guys, please share it. Share this episode with 1 or 2 friends. I mean, that helps a ton.
Yeah, we've really, we feel like we're really hitting our stride. I mean, it's been steady growth, all thanks to you guys.
Yep.
But we're really trying to go into the next stratosphere kind of thing, and it's all because of you guys. We spend very little, virtually zero on marketing to this point, and it's all growing because of you guys, because you're listening, because you're sharing it with your friends. Please continue to do so because you're leaving those ratings and reviews.
Yep. What else I need to do?
Check out agzaga.com. They are our online ag retailer. They are your online ag retailer. Best part about it, after you've done all your shopping, you put everything in that shopping cart, put in that discount code, TALKDIRT20, $20 off that $50 minimum order and free shipping. Do it.
That's right, guys. All right. We will catch you next week.
Assuming the snow and ice does not
kill us.
Does not completely kill us. Yeah. Yeah, it might be chilly in here next Thursday night.
I'll have the heat bumped up.
All right.
See, we got heat in here too. We didn't have that in the
yeah.
old one. Yeah. So, all right, guys. See you.